Good day everyone, I am Bermudez, the last presenter for Chapter 1, which titled The Basic Concepts, Theories, and Principles in Assessing Learning Using Non-Traditional Methods. I'm going to present the principles in assessing learning using alternative methods or the core principles that is based in literatures, and after that I'll present the advantages of using alternative methods. So according to David and his co-researchers in their study in 2020, there are many principles in assessment of learning using alternative methods or what we call the non-traditional methods. But based on literatures, the following may be considered as core principles. So what are these principles could be? First, we have assessment is both process and product oriented. When we say that assessment is both process and product oriented, it is an assessment that gives equal importance to students' performance or in producing a product. Moreover, traditional assessment methods are focused on assessing students' products or outputs. For example, is quiz or exams, while on non-traditional or alternative methods, these assessments are like conducting a laboratory experiment. This assessment give value to the product developed by students as well as the process students have undergone to develop the product. So to shorten the message, traditional method is graded based on the output of the students, while non-traditional method will be graded based on the students' performance and the output as well. Second, we have assessment should focus on higher order cognitive outcomes. For assessment to be valid and authentic, it should require students to demonstrate their knowledge. However, the focus should be on providing tasks or activities that would allow students demonstration of higher order cognitive outcomes. Example is creating or analyzing, or in skills, example are creativity and critical thinking. For example, as a future teacher that is major in social studies, your topic in history is martial law of the Philippines. After that, you will ask some of the higher or the thinking skills questions that will allow your students to comprehend and for you to test your students' reasoning and see if they have learned something from the topic. You can ask your students this higher order thinking skills question. First, what do you think could have happened after declaring the martial law? What was the problem with the ruling of Ferdinand Marcos? If you will be given the chance, what would you change in the story? Or what are the pros and cons in implementing the martial law? Using these questions, you will assess how your students analyze, visualize the problem solving, idea generation, the way of your students' application, and lastly, you will really know if your students learned something from your lessons. Third, we have assessment can include a measure of non-cognitive learning outcomes. Traditional assessment focuses on knowledge and other cognitive learning outcomes. These are the knowledge organization, and cognitive strategies. However, psychomotor and affective learning outcomes are also important learning outcomes. Hence, an assessment should also consider the assessment of these non-cognitive outcomes. So in conclusion, in making an assessment, we need to consider these soft skills. An assessment should have discipline, focus, confidence, teamwork, organization, seeking help. That is why we should always ask a question after any lessons or activity to our students and what part of the lesson they have any difficulty, or we tell them to raise their concerns in order for us to help them learn about the lesson before we jump into another topic. Fourth, we have assessment should reflect real life or real world context. From the sentence should reflect real life or real world context, it is very understandable that if we make any assessment, we should make it as relatable as possible, or it should be based on real life happenings or situations. Firstly, our assessment tasks or activities should be authentic. Authenticity is fundamental characteristic of good assessment practice, and students usually value it highly. Fifth, we have assessment must be comprehensive and holistic. Assessment should be performed using a variety of strategies and tools designed to assess students' learning in a more integrative way. We should use different types of assessment in our activities for our students. So at the end of every lesson, you can have an open-ended questions that gets them writing or talking, like ask your students to reflect from the lesson. You can also use quizzes or ask your students to summarize the topic. Assessment should be conducted in multiple periods to assess learning over time. Moreover, the use of assessment that is traditional and non-traditional strategies and tools should be considered. 6. Assessment should lead to students' learning. This means that assessment should be like classroom instruction. This principle is consistent with the concepts of assessment for learning and assessment as learning. In assessment as learning, assessment tasks, results, and feedbacks are used to help students practice self-regulation and make adjustments in order to achieve the curriculum outcomes. Now let's proceed to advantages using alternative methods. In using alternative assessment, students get an opportunity to apply the knowledge that they have learned and demonstrate it in a constructive way that provides a solution to the problem. They are also encouraged to think, analyze, innovate, and apply, and their sense of reasoning tends to improve. Tests are more realistic and bring in an understanding and the importance of the knowledge gained. Student skills are also measured along with the knowledge gained, making it more complete and correct. That would be all. Thank you for watching.